Alright, working on the Maytag here. We're not going to do any assembling or disassembling or anything. It's just going to be cleaning up and talking about this engine, what I think happened to it and why it's in the condition it's in. And I'll just show you how we clean things and stuff like that. We got everything all in different buckets here. We didn't get to that yet, and here's the top of the tank. We did half of that, but I'll show you the process. But anyway, this is quite interesting to me. Let me get a flashlight here. Matter of fact, I got up early. You know, it's 7 o'clock there, about 3:30 in the morning. So we got up, had nothing to do. Figured we'd put a little more work into this. I don't know how well it's going to turn up on camera, but I don't know if the light's going to help or hurt it. Probably going to hurt it, but anyway, if you can tell, it's real shiny, and that was pretty interesting to me because usually these things are rusted, and what this had on it was the whole bottom was a coat of like white, hardened white. I don't know if it was lye or borax or something, but it was probably dish or laundry detergent, and it actually came up pretty good. I see a spot here, and all I was doing was scraping it up, and when you scrape it, it can come out all right. So, and then after matter of fact, all I did was scrape with a little screwdriver, and it came up pretty good, which really surprised me. And the rest of it, I scraped it with a razor blade. You know, a lot of people were, you know, they wanted to keep the original patina, but there really wasn't an original patina. There was a little bit of green left right here, but it was soft, and it you know, it wouldn't come out all right anyway. Even here's the original paint, you know, and there's not really enough of it to keep. What was interesting was here, around the filler here. That's where you fill it, and that's the only corroded spot on this tank, and that's where Grandma, when she was filling and everything. What I think happened with this is, you know, these things you fill, this inlet hole was, that's a 1/4-inch pipe plug, I think. Maybe half, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's small. And Grandma probably had to fill this maybe every other wash or something like that, every other load. And she probably said to hell with it and kept a funnel. They used to have a special container, you know, that you would pour the gas in there with. But I think maybe she had a funnel on there and just left it open all the time, because I never seen a tank full of so much stuff in here, and I think it was detergent. And from the looks of the carburetor, I had a carburetor laying around somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. I call it a carburetor, but they're actually mixers. But even when you're buying some, they still call carburetors. But anyway, this is all plugged up here, and it rotted off the suction tube and the screen. You know, there's like a little thing on the bottom here. That's completely gone. I hope I can save this carburetor, because I don't know. You see that star? There's supposed to be a star special washer there, and that thing's all corroded out. You can still get parts for these, but once I won't know how well this carburetor is until I take it apart. From the looks of it, it might not be too good. But anyway, you know, just the suction tube and everything, that's like 20 bucks. And then you got a rebuild kit inside there. I think that's another $30 or something like that. And by the time you redo all that stuff, you might as well just buy a whole new carburetor, you know, for like $75. But we'll see. We'll see what we do with that when we get to it. But anyway, I got all the hardware and stuff cleaned up here. It's funny, all these nuts, remember I was saying how the nuts were nice and crisp on everything? Nothing was ever taken apart on this. You can see the heads of the bolts and everything are nice, except where it's these here were corroded. These actually hold the bottom of the tank on, so these are actually inside the fuel tank. But all the nuts were perfect, and the only ones that were buggered up were these ones that held on the carburetor. I had to file these down and square them up and flatten them up and make them good again. So they look pretty decent now. But that's the only bolts on these things or screws that will really mess with. And I think that's because Grandpa probably had to keep taking this carburetor off and cleaning it because there was so much lye or borax in it. And probably what happened after a while, they probably stopped running so many times, they just left it under the washing machine, possibly put an electric motor on the washing machine and just left this sit there with the top of the gas tank open. Because like I said, I've never seen it. I mean, it was, I don't know how many, I probably spent a couple hours just taking the stuff out of there and cleaning it. So that's my theory on why this is in such good shape, because I don't think it probably didn't have very long use. I had to get a little heat to get this out. This was the gas tank lid, and then this here is the drain. And I don't know if you can see it, probably not. I'm not focusing in here. But anyway, this was sort of crooked, and I was able to get that out. But maybe I can run a tap through there and make them threads serviceable again, or usable again, I should say. But anyway, here's the exhaust pipe. See, what I've been doing is scraping all the stuff off of it, because it's not oil and gas and stuff like that. I think most of it's lye. And what I usually do is take my parts and soak them in gasoline overnight, blow them off, and then wire wheel them. You know, a lot of guys mention electrolysis. Electrolysis is good in some cases, but it's not as easy as people think it is, and it's kind of messy too. So I'd rather just wire wheel this stuff, since you can get to it. All right, let me throw these on a tripod, and I'll show you the process I'm doing here. Yeah, before I do that, to clean the hardware up, it's pretty easy. I just take it and put it in a little jar with some gasoline, and just put it in there and swish it around, and then that cleans all the oil and grease off of it, and then I can hit them on a wire wheel. You know, because if you just wire wheel them with the grease and everything on there, you just make a mess and you really ruin your wire wheels. So, all right, let's get back to what we were saying. All right, here's the top of the tank. I got half it done over here. I still got my jammies on, so you might see my jammies here. It's not my fancy clothes. But anyway, and all you do is get a razor blade, try and keep my hand out of the way there, and use it as a scraper. You see what that's doing is taking that paint off. And if I just put this in a gasoline, it wouldn't really do anything because of this lye. You know, the gas doesn't really eat into the lye. There's a lot of it there. So what I do is just get most of this off. And it's not hard, it just takes time. And here's a little bit of rust. So anyway, play around with this and get the most of it off. So that's the paint that's coming off there. You know, that's what I was saying, it was all gummy and stuff. What surprised me on this is I think it's had primer on it. Now you can see like the orange stuff here. And back in the day, they called that red lead. And I'm surprised because the later models, of all the ones I've ever cleaned, I've never seen it on here before. So they must have decided to hell with that and save some money by not priming them, just by putting paint on them. Because the paint back in the day actually had lead in it itself. So, alright, let me dig around with this a little. It doesn't take much. You know, so by doing this one step, it saves a lot of time. And then once I put it in the gasoline, it gets rid of the grease. And I wire wheel it, and it won't take that long. See, that's like lye, softens everything up. Alright, let me clean this up, and then we'll get back to you and do something else. Now, some of these nooks and crannies, it's just easy to get a small screwdriver and that. Like I say, this is just a preliminary cleanup here. The rest of it will be done with the wire wheel and stuff. But whatever you can use to get in there, and even like right here, along the edge. See around right here, there's some embedded lettering. You probably can't see it, but all this is all lye or borax or something. The more you get out, the easier it is. See, so just that little bit of scraping with a screwdriver helped. That's your throttle instructions there. Open, one says open, one says closed. Okay, let me clean it up a little more. Alright, I cleaned this one up here that says closed. I figured I'd do this one here in real time so you see it's not really that difficult. The screwdriver gets all the big crap out. See that? It's almost done. And then you just get a little pick. Get inside the P and you go. Believe it or not, this one's actually harder than the last one. This must be where all the crap was landing. This one's actually tougher than the other one, so we ain't going to do this in real time. I'm going to dig around with that and then we'll get back to it. Okay, we're getting there. We just got the E and the N here. See, electrolysis wouldn't have touched this, because like I said, I think that's lye in there. I think it's another way to tell the year. I think the earlier ones, earlier than this, which only went back to after 1930. Well, no, let's go back the other way. Before 1929, I think these were just raised. They weren't embossed like this with the little thing. So I'm going to call this a 29, 28 or 29. But anyway. This is what it takes to do it right. So then, even after I wire brush this, I might see something I missed, but that looks pretty good to me. Anybody see anything I missed? Let me know. Alright, let me finish this up. Okay, alright, that cleaned up good enough for me. Like I say, mostly I was trying to get the lye off of it. Now, with little greases on there, will come off when I soak it in the gas tank. I was going to start cleaning some of these off, but instead I decided, whoop, sorry about that, I think I almost fell. I think what I'm going to do is try and clean this carburetor off and see if it's serviceable. Like I say, you can buy all these parts. Look at the corrosion on that. That came in too fast. See if it focuses, just for fun. There you go. Alright. A lot of corrosion on there, and it looks like on this one corner it's nicked, so Grandpa probably had this apart a few times too. Alright. I'll see. There's a little screw on the side there. Hope that don't give us trouble. That just holds the seat in there. There's a little plunger sort of that goes up and matches up against it. So let's clean this up and take it apart and see what we have to do with this. Like I said, we might have to buy a new one. Alright, I just finished cleaning up, this is the block here. I just finished scraping all the stuff off of this. This is ready to go into the gas pot. And I already cleaned the Kickstarter and all the assembly for that. And I didn't do the head here because a lot of nooks and crannies I'm going to have to get in there. And this might take me a few minutes. So, alright, this won't fit into the gas tank the way it is, you know. I'll probably stick it in there one half at a time, but I'll have to leave the lid off, and I'll do that. I'll put it outside to do that. But all I'm going to do is stick in this gasoline. I got about 4 gallons of gas in here, and you see it's not going all the way down because I already have stuff in there. There we go. There we go. That'll work. And I usually just let this sit overnight, but sometimes overnight turns into a week and stuff. We don't know. So, you know, only because I don't get to it the next day. But it usually only takes overnight to get all the grease off of it. Alright, let's get back to that carburetor. Alright, I guess we'll get rid of this. This is already loose. Holding our little dial indicator. At least I thought it was loose. There we go. Alright. What I'm going to do is we're just going to throw this in our little peanut butter jar full of gas. And this here isn't so loose. Looks like the whole thing's coming out. It's okay. It's okay. I'm holding on to it so I don't drop it. It's just a stud, really. Stud in the spring. A long stud in the spring. It's actually a jet. Yeah. That's good. Probably air mixture. Alright. Now let's see if this pops out. And that's going to give me a little trouble. Okay. Alright. Let me, you know what we do? We'll do a little scraping here. Clean it up. There we go. See, it's not scratching it. It's just taking that laundry detergent off and a little bit of oil. There's most of the laundry detergent. There's probably oil up here because this here, this is thick. Okay, that's fly or borax or some shit. So, alright, we'll clean this up and we'll rip it apart. Alright, that cleaned up pretty well. It had a little bit of gas on the back here. It was a little tough. I think Grandpa might put it on with some shellac, but we got that off. Alright, now make sure you're in the camera there. Just take this out. It should pop right out. There we go. This little screen. Huh. Actually not too bad in there, really. Yeah, hopefully this comes out. Like I say, you can replace the parts that are inside of this. And I'll try and save this tube pulling it out, but that don't look too promising. Where you at? It's tough. Let me turn the screen here. There you go. It's tough to keep you guys in frame when I'm looking at the screen, because everything is backwards sometimes. Alright, I'm going to throw it in a vise and see what I can do with it. Alright, before I do anything, let me try and take your screw out of the side here. I was going to use this screwdriver, but it's not a tight fit in there. So what I did is I found my free Harbor Freight screwdriver, and that's like a perfect fit in there. Oh boy, oh, we got some movement out of it. There we go. Harbor Freight. You say a lot about Harbor Freight, but Can't beat the free screwdriver. Alright, like I said, that's just a set screw that holds the, I don't know what you want to call that thing here. It's like where a plunger meets up against a seat. I guess it's a seat. We're going to call it a seat for now. Alright, let's throw these up in a place. Alright, I was able to get the fuel pickup out. At first, you know, I put a pair of vice grips on this real light, this top one, and that just unscrewed the top. So then I put the vice grips on there real light, and I was able to work it out. So that came out okay. I was surprised, thought that was going to snap. And then even that, I 7/8 bolt here, I was able to loosen this, and like I said, it was already buggered up. Grandpa probably had this off a dozen times. Okay. Now, we're going to look at this. We're all going to see this at the same time. There's that special washer I was telling you about on the bottom. That's shot. Look at that. It's all eaten away. That's supposed to be a certain thickness too. Huh. There's a little spring in here. I thought the spring was going to be gone, but actually looks like it's okay. And I think you got a little gasket there. I'm not sure. Been a long time. Okay. Let me take you off the tripod here and we'll take a look in there. Alright. It's like a little poppet valve. Hopefully it's not stuck in there. Give you a little light there. Oh yeah, no, it's loose. Okay. Alright, there's a seat I was telling you about. There we go. Okay, that seat and this, let's focus in. Don't get this going. But anyway, they should be both flat. And that looks like it's a little bit worn. But I'd rather not take that seat out, because it's got to be put in there at just the right depth. I don't remember what the depth was. It's if I had to guess, I'd say 3/4 of an inch or something like that. I could be wrong. I'd have to research that. But anyway, let's look at it. Maybe we can clean it up and leave it there and it would work. Alright, I think I took apart all I'm going to take apart. I don't want to take a chance. I probably could knock that thing out there, but I think I'll leave it the way it is. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and put it in this carb cleaner. This is what I use for serious stuff. And then after that, maybe I'll put it in a ultrasonic cleaner after that. But it's good stuff. It even comes with a little basket of its own. And like I say, it's good stuff. I'll put a link. I'll find a link so you guys can find it online. I bought this at the local Pep Boys. I think it cost me like $30 or $35 or something. But online it's a lot cheaper. All right, let's. I'm gonna put you on a tripod and we'll look at this carburetor a little bit. All right. From the looks of it, like I say, I think I want to keep this. I mean, the surface where they match each other, there's no scarring or anything on there. I think, like I said, I think that should be perfectly flat, but it's a matched surface now, so, and that's perfect. To get that out, you just have to push that out, and it comes out the bottom. And then when you put it back in, you just have to line it up with there's a little groove in here, you just have to line it up with the set screw here. So it's no big problem taking it out, but sometimes things are best left the way they are, you know. I don't want to have to, like I said, I don't want to rebuild this. I just want to get it working. So looks like this has been buggered with before. This here is a little bent, this tube, so I might have to put a drill in there just to straighten it out. Looks like the end is bent just a little bit, but I think we can get it working. Like I said, I'm gonna dip this whole thing in the carb cleaner, and then we'll know exactly what it looks like. But I think we can save it. And this here, inside this part here, I don't have it zoomed in, sorry, but this has a little spring in here. And this spring is pretty critical. It's got to be the right tension. And it actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. That's crazy. 90 years old and it still has tension and everything. And then I think actually in here, I think there's a ball bearing that might be stuck in there. We'll see what happens. Let's see if it comes out. If it don't, I mean, it's not. I think it's just to hold the bottom of the spring in place from moving, because there isn't any. And then here, I don't know if you see on the nut here, but there's a big divot taken out here and divot taken out of here. So at one time, somebody probably had a chisel on there to break this loose, because you actually need a special nut to put that on, because you had the two things here in the way. You got the fuel thing and that. So there's a special nut. But I was lucky, I got it off with a regular open-end wrench. Alright, so right now, looks like all I'll need is the bottom of the fuel tip there, because this is actually pretty good. And this special little washer. So like I say, we'll put that in the carb cleaner. Well, I thought I had the bottom of that. I thought I had a couple extras, but looking in the stash here, I got a bunch of Maytag parts. And these look like all 72 parts. Look like a governor. And that's it. That wasn't any good. But I had these fuel things here for a model 72. You know, I think everything in here is for a 72. I think it's a cam for a 72. But anyway, these are springs for a 92. But I didn't find what I needed. In fact, there's an original spring. So that's what you get when you buy repro parts, reproduction parts. That spring is shorter and stiffer. Well, no, it ain't stiffer, but it's shorter. Okay, but that's what you get. Anyway, while I was in here, I don't know if you can see this. I thought I had a decal set for this, and sure enough, I got a bunch of Maytag decals in here. So I think it'll use that one. And now I'm not sure. I think this might be for an earlier one, for like a 27. But anyway, we'll research it and see which ones they take. And hopefully we won't have to order another set of these. It's another 10 bucks we saved. It's alright. This video is probably getting pretty long, so I'll throw this in the carb cleaner there and clean it up and see what we got. And then I'll take the other stuff out of the gasoline and clean it up, and we'll continue on from there. So I guess this will be good enough for this video. Alright, enough of this.